Hello.
Perfect,
Hello.
Chris. Welcome tonight with us for
Nice to
the
be here.
third race of this virtual Sailplane Grand Prix. How are you?
I'm very.
I mean, what can we say about Condor 3? You said you don't remember exactly what you said, some part of it 2 years
It's
ago.
it's all right. I've had a think today about what I could reveal and spoken with Joris, and he is okay that I can talk about these things, so it's okay.
Great. Well, then, Lorenzo, maybe you can start if you have a question for Chris now. We did not prepare anything. Chris, we had a meeting together last week to prepare a little bit this interview. And you just told me, just go with the questions and I will try to just answer and say what I can say and maybe try to avoid what I cannot say. But we will
Okay,
improvise.
it's okay. You can trust me not to tell you things that I don't want.
Lorenzo, first question for you.
With the maybe ask about the graphics. I love these graphics, but with the exit of the Microsoft Flight Simulator, are you interested in having more precise graphic like that one, or are you still doing the like Condor 2, so with the same level of refinement? And I love this one. It was not heavy for the computer, but I don't know if you want to
No,
move to a
that's great.
more.
That's a great question. Um, there is a disadvantage compared to Microsoft because Microsoft have Bing and they have all this access to these very high resolution textures, but also we think that for many gliding pilots in Condor, they don't all have great PCs and very strong computers, and so the live streaming of landscapes it can be a problem for some people, we think. But nevertheless, we are very impressed with the Microsoft one. Now, let's talk of what we're doing in Condor 3. The landscape we have remade the landscape totally using photo textures. We have obtained license-free photo textures for Condor, fully legal, and the landscape is much extended. So there's all of Slovenia, of course, and then there's a large amount of Austria to the north, a very small corner of Germany, and if you imagine a rectangular landscape, this will then require a piece of Italy. So there is some of Rivoli di Ossopo and Pordenone and Monfalcone included. And we go down into the very north, just the northern slice of Croatia and a little bit of Hungary to the east. So the landscape is much larger than in Condor 2, with good resolution photo textures of between 1 and 2 meters, depending on which data we use, because not all countries have the same resolution. So we believe that this is going to be much better, and people who have seen it, and I know that Antoine has seen it, so we think this is much better and a good balance between very large landscapes and good performance for thing. So along with this extension to the improvement of the landscape, we are used and modified a tool which imports OpenStreetMap data for roads and buildings, and so there are huge amount of buildings now in the landscape, like some areas in Alpine 2, and this is really very nice. And the tool, which actually one of the pilots here, Week Schumachers, has improved, does Sorry, it's very late for me.
No worries.
Power lines and cable cars and these sorts of things. So we think it's very, very nice. We are quite happy with it. So that's where we are on the landscape. The graphic resolution of the planes, as we've improved, all the planes have been either improved or remade. Every single plane in Condor 2 has been remade for Condor 3, and with some extra features which I won't be talking about, but graphically they're much better, much nicer, and we've added one plane to the standard version of Condor. So instead of 7 gliders, there's now 8. We've added the standard class ASW 2815 into the base version of Condor 3 because the Genesis wasn't really very competitive in standard class, and so the Genesis is now been put into club class.
Great. That's a good thing to do, I believe. Yeah.
We think it's a good thing to do. Now, all of these planes, if you have them in version 2, will be automatically in version 3 for you. So you will get all of the updated planes. Whatever you have previously bought in version 2 are included in your installation of version 3 at no extra cost. So you get these extra benefits. And you don't lose things that you've already paid for.
I have one question which is interesting. I'm going to read the first part of the question and I'm going to add something. Should I buy from Muscle, should I buy Condor 2 or wait for 3 to come out? So that's the question. And I'm adding my own question. What if I buy Condor 2 today and it's coming on tomorrow, but it's not going to come out tomorrow? Okay, but is there any promotion if you buy it at the very last minute and then the next day Condor 3 is coming out? If you bought Condor 2 the day before, let's say, can you do something for that or?
Okay. Condor 3 will be released within 6 months. Okay.
That's a big announcement.
And anybody who buys Condor 2 in that period will receive a free upgrade to Condor 3.
That's great to hear. So we're gonna show again later on. We've shown that yesterday without knowing this. We've shown a QR code to buy Condor because the people are looking at the races and some of them they don't know what's the simulator to play, and we're like, okay, it's Condor, you can go and go to this QR code and buy it and so on. But we didn't really know what we could do if Condor 3 would just get out in a few weeks or month. We wouldn't know. So that's good. So you can buy Condor 2 today, and you will get Condor 3 for free, a free update in just a few months. So a big announcement from Chris tonight. Thank you very much. Another question, which is more personal for you, Chris. Are you a real glider pilot, sailplane pilot, in real life, or are you just passionate about virtual gliding and about Condor? How did it all started?
I went solo in 1976.
You have your answer, Diego.
But I don't fly in real anymore. We all know that it's very time consuming, and I have done many things. So yeah, I used to be an instructor back in the early 90s, and last time I flew in real was 2006. So a year after Condor came out.
And then it was all working for Condor, almost.
Well, not really. If we're talking about me, which I don't really like to do much, but I was a user of Condor from the beginning, and I learnt to model planes. And then in, I think, 2009 or 2010, I made a tow plane for Eurus, because Gregor, who was the modeler at that time, was busy. And then Gregor moved on to other things, and I then took over as the maker of planes for many years. And then there was a lot of pressure for wanting version 2, and for a period of about 3 years, every winter I would speak to Eurus and say, when are we going to make version 2? And in 2015, he agreed that we would start.
That's a great thing to do. Just stopping you
so version 2 took 3 years to make.
Yeah.
And now it looks like maybe version 3 will have taken 2 years, or 2 years and a little bit.
Storages. Let's get back to you, Chris. 2 years ago, you announced that there would be some new weather features into Condor 3. Can you say some of the main improvements that you've done on the weather side?
Yes, because after that we did the work. So I know what we have been doing. So the most obvious thing to see in the weather side now is there will be 3 weather zones which you can use, and each of those you can set the cloud base, the thermals, all of the normal parameters that you would already have in version 2, but you have 3 copies of that. And the weather zones you will draw on your map as to where they are, and then you can tell the task and the weather managing how these weather zones move, how fast they move, and which direction. And so throughout your task period, the weather will move across and change across your task. So we think that this is a very powerful thing. So you could have a nice out and return task, and you go out and it's lovely weather, and when you come back, it's all gone.
Exactly. That's going to be absolutely lovely for us.
Imagining many different scenarios of what you could do, some of which would never happen in real life, but I'm sure people will be doing this. But it looks like to be a great thing. In addition to that, the thermal code has been partially rewritten or rewritten and changed to improve the realism of thermals. We already think that we've got it pretty good, but there's a few areas where it needed to be improved in the areas of turbulence and variability, and so that has gone in. There will be representative sync between thermals, because we think this is one of the areas which is not exactly accurate in Condor 2. So those thermals, sync between thermals and extra turbulence as well.
You've answered most of the questions of the chat. Another one was, will the weather model be improved, like dynamic weather instead of static weather?
Yes.
Will we have an improved weather generator, convergence, and so on? You've answered most of that as well.
The convergence is, I suppose that it would be possible to model convergence with a weather zone. I've not thought about that, but we're not. There isn't a specific convergence
setup. Yeah,
there isn't a specific one, but it may well be that you could use the weather zone to implement that. That's very interesting, actually. You must think about that.
I think Mark worked on it on the other forum. I think he's worked on it a little bit. But I need to check again. But I think it was there's been some stuff on that a few months ago, quite some months ago. Chris,
I know what you're referring to, but
not exactly that.
I'll talk to you about that separately.
Okay. Russell, Chris, thank you to you and to the team for all the hard work. I know people respect you. You have lives to lead as well. So yeah, be careful. Don't work too much. Another one. Will there be a FLARM system? If yes, will the information be accessible via an NMEA output? Thank you very much. From Patrick ADW. Can you answer that or not?
I heard what you said, but this is one of the things I'm not allowed to talk about.
Okay. Is the Condor PDA still the same in 3? From Almost Sante.
Can you say that again? I didn't get that.
Is the Condor PDA, the GPS, still the same in Condor 3?
No.
Okay.
It's more like a modern PDA that you would use. It is much improved, and it has support for AATs, as does the flight planner.
Okay. Another question regarding weather. About weather changes, will it be possible to add randomness to the changes to prevent the pilots to know how the weather will develop exactly? Not sure.
Sure, I really understand the question.
Well, can you make that random, more or less random, into the 3 weather zones? I think that's kind of the question.
We already have this feature. You can have randomized weather, but that is no.
Yes, indeed, you can have that. I think not a lot of people are using it,
No.
but you could do that.
But if that is there already, then that is we're not taking things out.
Okay.
I think it's more a question about the competition aspects. So like when you enter the flight, you can see how it will develop before in the briefing.
All right. Well, the answer to that would be to not let the pilots see the briefing, wouldn't it? Not let them see the task plan.
Yeah.
Not
So
sure about that. That doesn't seem to be realistic in our goal, which is to represent the real life. In real life, the pilot can look at the weather and look at the forecast and try and understand what will happen. But with these weather zones, they're still going to be very difficult because you could have the weather zone moving quite quickly, and the pilot doesn't know what time he will arrive there necessarily, because only once he started will he really know what cross-country speed he's achieving.
Yes, I agree with you, Chris. Yeah.
Undoubtedly, when we all switch to version 3, then there will be a big learning period for us all to find out what can be done and what effect this will have on our flying, and whether we feel it's better, or if there's any more things which we could do to improve it. Our team we've put in the best that we can think of, and so we don't think that there's going to be a huge list of things which you could improve, but we remain open to listen, and we'll see what we can do. Version 3, following the version 3 release, there will be the same as we have done with version 2. There will be periodic updates which bring new features, and of course any fixes for any bugs which appear. And we are expecting quite a few updates in the first year, because there are a number of features that we want to put in, but we're not going to put in to begin with.
Okay, great for this information, Chris. A lot of questions, really a lot of questions. So thank you on the chat to ask all of these questions. That's too much to.
No, I'm okay
tonight,
with questions, as long as the questioners don't mind that some things I won't say.
Yeah.
Let me just finish off the last few things that I was planning to tell you.
Okay.
So, when we release. On release day of version 3, there will be, as I've already said, additional ASW28 and all of the new features which you don't know about yet. But on the same day, we are hoping to release 5 new planes, for version 3. You probably know that already we've stopped development on version 2, and there won't be any more planes released for version 2. So we're aiming to release version 3 with its features, along with a mini LAC, 13.5 meters, SF-28, Scheibe tandem Falk, ASG-32 MI, and the AS-33 in the 2 wingspans of 15 and 13 meters, 15 and 18 meters rather. That's what we plan to release on the first day. Obviously, those 5 extra planes will be payable. They're not included.
Of course, I've seen a big smile on the face of Lorenzo when you've stated all of them. Was like, oh yes, that's good. That's good.
Which one does he like the best?
Maybe the S-33.
Ah. We will see. Yeah, it's a very, very nice model. Even though I say so myself, I made it, but it was with assistance of Schleicher, who supplied a CAD model for us to get the shape of it exactly correct.
Yeah. There have been a few questions about airspace. Do you plan to insert airspaces into Condor 3 and so on?
I'm not empowered to talk about this.
Okay.
You can draw conclusions from the fact I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah. They will draw their own conclusions. I'm not into that. Something else. Well, Russell just bought Condor 2, as now we can get free update, just so you know. Another question about VR. Will there be more VR options available? I don't know if you can talk about that as well.
We want to rewrite the VR interface, but because of the amount, is this still working?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I had a progress thing appeared on the screen. We want to improve the VR, but because of all the work we've had to do on version 3, just to get it to where we are now, we don't want to delay it. And so any improvements to VR will follow in an update. There will be a VR update, but It won't be version 3.0.
Okay, copy. I think that does answer all of your questions about VR. Working on it, but not ready yet for version 3.0. Jarmo Karjalainen, we've seen that the 20 pilots were more or less all together in the same thermal, and they are progressing now towards term point 3. As you can see, they are just in a nutshell, in just 20 kilometers, maybe they are all here. No one has fallen behind, I believe. Do you have more questions, Lorenzo, for Chris tonight? Or Chris, do you want to add something on your list?
In the months following, as I said, there will be updates. There will also be more planes. Because this has been a long time without releasing any planes, we've still been making planes. So we have quite a number of planes ready, or almost ready for release. So there will be some new, and some of the more interesting ones there will be Astias will have. There will be ASK-13. The LAC 17 will come, and then we have a huge list of other planes which are not ready for talking about yet, but they're all being worked on.
Okay.
So we think that they will be releasing at least 2 planes a month for
great
for the first 6 months after release.
Very nice.
What are you crossing your fingers for?
I'm hoping for the ZD55, the Nexus from ZD. So
ZD55.
Yeah, that's the.
Yes,
You
I
can have
know
a
this.
look.
There is a model which has been started by a guy, but he had to stop doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not being worked on at the moment, and I can't remember the state of the model, but I don't think it's very far ahead.
Okay.
But it is on the list.
And yes, a question from my team working in the backstage. Is there any improvement in Spectate, or is there anything planned for Spectate or whatever yet?
Spectate is in as it is. We would need to. We are happy with it. If you want any improvements, you have to submit request.
That's what I said.
I've not had any come in at all. So if you're not happy with it, you might want to tell us.
Yes, no, that's good. That's what I told them already. If you have a list, we've made a list some time ago, but we need to work around it much better than what it's been done yet. And yeah, I think we are all pretty happy with how it's working right now. It's quite good. Yes, I think they will just want some more stuff, but we can talk about it in a few months. There is absolutely no rush with that.
Yes, we're not in a position to take on any
Yeah.
more tasks right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
you can just imagine what it's like. The planes went to all of the base planes went into beta a week ago.
Okay.
The cockpit will be still modifiable, like in Condor 2. The instrument panel, so moving the.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Okay.
the same technology. Absolutely, yeah.
Good.
Perfect.
But there are new instruments.
Yes. We will see. We will see. I'm looking forward, but we will see. Chris, do you want to stay with us more longer, or do you need to go tonight?
No, I'm okay to stay for another maybe half an hour or something.
Ah, that's great.
If you wish, you can ask me questions.
Thank you. There are a lot of.
There is one thing that I've noticed, which seems like a small change in Condor 3, but I noticed of all the trees you have, and in Condor 2 you have a tree density setting which you turn down to 0. Yeah.
Yes, you can do that.
And this is not great for competition because, of course, there's an advantage if you can fly without trees on your local PC. So this has been changed in version 3. So the tree density will be fixed at max, but there is a tree visibility distance. It will be changed so it's a distance of the visibility of the trees, so that when you're flying over a mountain pass, everybody has the same number of trees in competition.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So you can still have a maximum distance like you're displaying here, and it will look the same, but it kind of heads off one way of getting an advantage in competition.
On the chat, a lot of people are just thanking you, Euros, and all the team, all the Condor team for all the hard work that's been put in to work on Condor 3. Yeah, a lot of good comments. So thank you to all of you for that. Small question, but kind of a marketing question. I don't know if I will ask that. What's going to be the price? Is it going to be the same price as Condor 2?
Yes.
Maybe it's not decided. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. No change in prices at this point. We had a review of prices about a year and a half ago, I think. I can't remember exactly. And that was that is staying for the time being. So no changes in that respect. We will be changing the pricing method. At the moment, you know that we have a pro version where you can buy all the planes. Yeah. This has been good for some people, but there are people who buy the base Condor and then want to upgrade to Pro, and we don't have the ability to do that. So what we will probably be doing is having a discount structure for buying more than one plane at the same time, or maybe a discount for 5, a discount for 10, things like this.
Okay.
The details are not sorted out yet, and it may well be that we don't actually achieve it by release date, because it's a lot of website changes and financial things. But hopefully we will be able to do that.
Okay, yeah, that would be great, I think, for the people. So
I've seen in the chat somebody asked how much more powerful the GPU will be. It's actually probably not going to be that bad. I have been saying people maybe you want to increase our minimum requirements by 2 or 3 times, but we can't say yet because we need to complete our testing and see where we end up, and then we can put the information out. But it should not be terrible. And what I'm saying is, it's not 2 or 3 times what you have now. It's 2 or 3 times what our minimum requirements are, which are already quite low in terms of modern technology.
Another question, Chris, for you. Question is a bit vague. What about force feedback? It's still in Condor, I suppose. There is no change compared to Condor 2 in that.
No change. No change needed, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's why I don't know if you can explain a little bit more the question. Another one is, can task setters use fit for North Americans? But I think that's already implemented, right?
I think it's not implemented in Condor 2. I don't think so. I have seen that it's on a list of feature requests. I don't know if it's been done, but I believe that it's intended that we're doing this.
So it's in knots only.
It's
so far, I mean, because
don't know. It's in the superposition of knowing and not knowing.
Okay, because David Redman, he told us that he's not flying with the meter per second, and he's flying not with the European but imperial values, I think.
All right.
That's what he told. So I think it was already implemented.
No, he doesn't mean in the cockpit. What he means in the task planner.
Okay. Oh yeah, indeed. Yeah, I can test
the things in the task planner. I think that's only in. I think that's the question.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah,
indeed,
it's only meter if this task setter is done in meters.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. So that's a very good question. Yeah, I never thought about that actually. So because in world championships and so on, it's always in kilometers, always in meters and so on. Even in Australia, it's going to be in kilometers, or in the US, it's in kilometers. That's the official value that everyone uses. But then only in American countries or English-speaking countries, they use knots instead of meters per seconds, or instead of kilometers, and that's it.
Or
that's the main change. Yeah, almost there. You know that much better than me, Chris, I think. But yeah, it's
yeah, it's okay. There's a guy on the chat. I don't have a chat login, so I don't want one. He says, will there a summary of items talk about going to condorsoaring.com? And I'm not going to put a summary of these items on there, but if somebody else wants to do this, they can do it.
Yeah, that's the people watching that have to do it. They have to do it. Yeah. James Story, is there any plan to improve the training lessons in Condor 3? Yeah, is preferred the lessons in Microsoft Flight Sim, so you need to improve. I would like to see a lesson on how to fly race tasks. So that's kind of our job, but I would like it to be implemented in Condor 3 as well.
Lessons will be remade for Condor 3 because of the way the code works. They have to be. In the longer term, I have a wish to make lessons in a different way. But let's see what people think when we finish with version 3.
I have a question for you, Chris. Well, maybe it was more of a comment. I don't know if you've seen it already. I want to ask how you feel about the growth of the of Condor throughout history, and now that it is adopted by the FAI. How does you feel about it?
Well, yeah, of course, we're completely happy, very delighted, and feel quite honoured that that, that we are viewed in this way, and we feel great responsibility to keep it going and keep it improving and getting closer and closer to real life. I can see the question in Twitch there. What we especially like is the fact that we've had this online community since 2005, which is 18 years now, and it's always been a good group of people, friendly and helpful, and there have been no real wars, and so it's really great because over this period of time the people have changed. Not many of the original people are still here, but the new ones come along, and everybody gets along, and it's really inspiring for us. It's very difficult to keep a single product going for a very long time with updates and things like this, and the community makes it easy for us.
Okay, that's perfect.
Thank you for the time and the opportunity to talk to everybody. I think I've answered every single question.
Thank you, Chris.
I didn't.
We will leave you here, Chris, and we will continue for 5 more minutes with Lorenzo watching the landings and so on, and the last pilots to arrive tonight for the viewers. So you can leave us here, and we wish you a very good night. Thank you for joining us, Chris, tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'll talk to you sometime later, Antoine.
I'm sure about it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.